This should be a little quieter, although we'll see. The second seating, some 500 typos waiting for their turn in the Occident, had just about shut down Queen and Bathurst. I should explain that the typos that's the nickname for the men of the 108th Toronto Typographic Battalion, which was raised in my mind to fight during the First World War from among the, basically the book trade in Toronto. And they spell the number 8 in their 108 with an ampersand, which is why, among other things, there's an ampersand on the cover of the book, and why the title, And After This Our Exile, is always spelled with an ampersand. Stan arrives to witness a huge crap game rolling in the midst of the intersection. This is 1934. This is during the Canadian Corps reunion. This is not during the war itself. Subsidiary games of Crown and Anchor, siphoning cash on every corner, and pretty much everybody tight as old webbing on a bloated corpse. Stan heard the old cryptic cries that used to follow a parade with the paymaster. Come on, my lucky lad, slap her down, thick and heavy. Who says a little more on the old sergeant major? Well, up she comes, and the old man smiles again. Men urinated freely against the buildings. Small knots of former officers pretended to be waiting for streetcars that were backed up in all four directions, as far as angels can. It was hard to love the men when they were like this. But when Bill Ostick got unsteadily to his feet a mere 2 hours later and raised his glass, no one drank. The tables had been cleared, folded, and put away. The entire battalion stood with him in the dining hall, knocking back chairs as they did so. A spattering of curses spangled the smoke-thick air, then nothing. The narrow windows were open, and not a few of their funereal urns had been tipped onto the sidewalk, sashes to ashes. But the living of the battalion were there, and steady, when Bill said, simply, "Fallen comrades." Private Andrew Meek, St. Andrew to the men, for he had been a stretcher-bearer throughout the war, raised the bugle to his lips. As he began to play the last post, the converted gas lamps around the room were extinguished one by one. In truth, each was half unscrewed by a man with a table napkin. By the time Meek finished, it was pitch black inside. 2 minutes ticked by. You could have heard a pin drop. What happened during that silence? Then there was remembrance, the active animal, the thing with tooth and claw. It went ramping through them, pawing to get free, scattering paybooks taken from pale remains, photos held up by bloody hands, last letters delivered years after. Khaki forms crowded round, closed the ranks of memory. They had gathered for fellowship, they always would, until the last knot of typos read their final lines in each other's faces. But there, in that private dark, was the only time these men were truly not alone. Wait for it. Wow. Okay, that's enough to defeat just about any man. But the fact is, it'll be better. No, thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. No fucking thank you. Okay, so we now know what we're looking for. Look for medley, whatever. You look for whatever the fuck. Thank you. That'll do. Thank you. That will not do, actually. You'll find it. Just, that's very, very good. Okay? That's it. Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so you got that. All right. Let's try. This is now kaput.